If the price is going down, let it go down without you. Let it find its bottom. And then once it starts coming back up, be content with the fact that you missed the bottom. You're never going to pick the bottom. It's okay. Be okay with that. My name is Christopher Yulev. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I was mentored by 5 of the market wizards, the best traders of all time. And I've been successfully trading since 2009. And this is where we save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team. Now let's get into the lesson of the day. So be sure to stick around to see how we rank this video out of 10 and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So this video is called Buy AMD Now and Don't Stop Buying. This is by the Felix and Friends GOAT Academy YouTube channel. Look, I'm going to tell you one thing. I have not watched this video at all, but I know I'm going to blow a gasket watching it because you should not be buying AMD right now whatsoever. And please do not start buying and do not stop not buying. Right? He's saying buy now, stop buying. No. And do not buy. Do not buy a stock that is going down. Okay. Now, I want to take just a moment before we get into this and talk about SoFi, which you're like, why are we talking about SoFi, Chris? Because SoFi has been on a very bullish run. Then the moving averages crossed down, and it looks like the moving averages might start to cross back. Okay. Here's what I want to get across here. When you are an investor, a long-term investor or a short-term trader, when the market is moving down, you don't have to hold on to that stock. Okay. If the market's giving you signals of, hey, we don't like the stock anymore, and it's gone down from a high to here of 20%. So you've lost 20 cents on each dollar you've invested, okay, from the high to here. You don't have to hold it. But you should be market aware, and you should throw on the OVTLYR Trend Template, which is the 10-period moving average, the 20-period moving average, and the 50-period moving average. And when the 10's over the 20, like it was right here, and you can see that, and prices over the 50, that is a bullish trend, okay? And at this point, it started to reverse, right? That it was closing under trend lines and starting to reverse. Now it looks like it potentially has the chance to go back up. And so as an investor, as a trader, you can wait on the sidelines and say, oh, you know what? I can see it starting to go back up. I'm more interested in buying it. Okay. So you could buy it at like $16 or so and have a lot less risk because the trend is moving in your favor at this point than having bought it at actually $16 on the way down is a good way to look at it, right? So you could have avoided all of that down move or even $15 on the way down, right? If you bought it at 15, would you have bought it again at 14? Would you have bought it again at 13 as it's going down? The reason that the stock is going down is let me rephrase that. The stock is going down because people don't want to own it, okay? And if a stock is going down when people don't want to own it, I don't want to own it either. But if a stock is turned around and going back up, by all means, let's go. So I'm actually starting to be cautiously bullish on SoFi. It hasn't quite crossed over on the OVTLYR Trend Template just yet, but this is a great example of a trend bending and then bending back. And then as a trader, I have no emotional connection to SoFi whatsoever. I don't care if it goes up. I don't care if it goes down. If I own the stock and I see it moving in one direction, I'm interested in buying if I want to trade in that direction. If it's going the opposite direction, doesn't matter if I'm holding it for the rest of my life. I don't want to own it if it's going to zero. Okay. So back to AMD. I can't imagine anybody wanting to own AMD until it resolves itself. So here's a good example, right? We talked about SoFi on the opposite end, right? Imagine AMD comes down to, it goes from 170, 160, 150, 140, and you're like, oh, I'll get in at 140. Sure. Right. I'll get in at 140. And then it's gone from 140, 130, 120, now 115. Rather than buying it at 140 on the way down, why not wait till it resolves and it's actually trending up higher and buying at 140 on the way up? I know you're thinking, but Chris, why would I buy it at 140? Right? That's such a terrible price to buy it at. In my opinion, it's a great price to buy it at. That's how trend following works, is you want it to see higher highs, right? Because price is the only thing that pays, right? I don't care about the story of the stock. I don't care about the PEs. I don't care about the forward dividends. I don't care about any of that fundamental stuff. It doesn't matter. All that matters at the end of the day is the price higher on the stock that you bought today than it was when you originally bought? Okay, that's all that matters. Everything else is just a story to talk about the stock with, right? Literally every single fundamental is just a story to help justify why you're making money or losing money. Okay. Or you can just look at an objective and say, oh, the stock price is going down. I don't want to buy it. Right. Or, let's remove all annotations. And let's say I wanted to buy it at 125. Maybe you got to 125 and you're like, oh, this is a steal of a century. I'm going to buy it now. Well, rather than waiting, buying it here as it's going down, there's no guarantee it's going back up. Okay. No guarantee. In fact, one of my mentors, Mark Minervini, let me find the slide real quick, has this right here, right? It's knowing that you should sell as your stock is going down, but fearing it's going to go up without you gets you caught in a awful down move like this. Okay. An awful down move like this. It doesn't happen every time, but it certainly doesn't go up every time either. So that's why I like to say trading, investing, whatever, always approach it from a risk first perspective, right? And when the stock is going back up to 125 is a lot more advantageous to a owner of that stock than when it's going down to 125. Okay. So with all that out of the way, let's see what Felix and Friends GOAT Academy has to say in buy AMD now and don't stop buying. And I don't know how this is going to go, but I feel like I'm going to get wound up.
It's been falling for the last 52 weeks, every single week, pretty much. And Wall Street's freaking out about it.
Okay. So if it's falling for the last 52 weeks, every week, pretty much, that means people don't want to own it, right? Let the market tell you where it's going. Let the market tell you where it's going. At some point, it can tell you that it's going up, but he just told you it's been going down for 52 weeks. So why would you buy it?
They're claiming AMD is missing the AI boat while Nvidia is stealing the show. But here is what they're not telling you. While everyone's obsessed with Nvidia's AI dominance, AMD is quietly executing a rather brilliant strategy. Now, of course, Winston dug the strategy up for me. He's very good at digging.
Strategy ain't working out too well. They're quietly executing a brilliant strategy of watching their stock price eviscerate. They're quietly executing a strategy of watching their stock price go down from March down 49%. It's a great strategy so far if you don't want to have your money.
And for those of you who don't like to watch full videos or just really pressed for time, let me give you the crucial points here straight away. AMD isn't just playing catch up, they're playing a different game. Between Nvidia's major launches, AMD's strategically dropping GPUs with better specs, snatching up customers who can't wait or can't pay Nvidia's premium prices. But that's just the beginning. AMD is crushing Intel in high-performance CPUs. Their AI-powered laptops are...
Okay, so let's do this. Let's pull up on the left side. Let's pull up AMD. On the right side, let's pull up Intel. I mean, both of them are looking kind of shit to me. I mean, I would say both of them are playing a losing game right now.
Are flying off the shelves, and they've got Dell, HP, and Lenovo locked in for the massive 2025-2026 enterprise corporate refresh cycle. Look, after spending years, decades almost, trading stocks, I've learned that sometimes the market's panic creates the best opportunities. And right now I'm seeing something rather remarkable in AMD. We'll look at exactly when to buy AMD in the next few minutes. But the truth is that to really understand when to buy AMD or any stock and never be a bag holder again, you need to learn how to spot stock breakouts before they happen. And
Okay. This video may be salvaged. There may be something good to this. There may be something positive come out of this. He's talking about breakouts, which is good. He's talking about when to buy, not necessarily that it's time to buy right now. Okay, this could be redeemed.
To learn to sell before the stock collapses majorly. And you might be thinking, yeah, that would be nice, but how am I going to learn that? Well, I've got something rather exciting for you, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you exactly that knowledge. Learn how to spot the breakouts, exit before they collapse. And it works insanely well, something that I learned while I was in banking. And my mission is to teach it to 1 million people, because the world will be a better place. Trust me, your life will be 1,000 times better if you
Okay, listen, you're selling it. Let's go. Come on.
Money really starts working for you. So how do you get access to it? You click on the link down below. First link in the description.
First link in the description, of
Felix
course.
Friends.org/get free. Or smart money has been waiting for. $18 right now. The market's jittery, the headlines are horrible, and your portfolio might be feeling the heat if you are in AMD. And I do get that. And I have been saying a lot, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. Well, I'll get to the timing question.
Oh, so he's been saying don't touch it. Okay, praise Jesus. I was worried that this is going to be one of those bag holder moments where it's like buy AMD as it's going to zero.
In a moment, but here this is a bit more fundamental. And then when do we look at exactly what's the timing for this? And again, watch the masterclass if you really want to understand that. So is AMD a falling knife? Yes, but is it falling behind in the AI race? Well, I'm starting to see something rather different here. So let me share something with you that I learned in my banking days. The market often mistakes tactical patience for weakness. So yes, AMD might seem like they're lagging in the AI accelerator space, but here's the reality check that I think we all need. They're executing one of the most brilliant strategic plays I've seen in tech. Think about it. While everyone's fixated on the AI narrative, AMD is quietly building an empire. They're not just throwing chips at the wall hoping something sticks. They've got a real roadmap that spans desktop CPUs, AI-powered laptops, and yes, data center solutions.
And Teslas. My Tesla has a AMD chip in it too.
And here's what makes me confident about them. AMD is not trying to win every battle here. They know that Nvidia is ahead in some of these battles. They're not going to even show up for them. But they are snatching up market share exactly when competitors are vulnerable. And just wait till you see what AMD revealed at the CES, just a big computing conference that just happened in the US. AMD just secured partnerships with the 3 biggest computers manufacturers in the world: Dell, HP, and Lenovo. Got a Dell. It's a Dell, and this isn't a Dell. Does this have an AMD chip in it? It does, actually. Yes, it does. Well done, me. So these 3 companies pretty much make every computer you see in offices worldwide. And guess what? They're all choosing AMD right now. So most companies replace their computers every few years, and this is important. The next big replacement wave is coming in 2025, which is now. You haven't realized.
Oh yeah, for Windows 11, right? Because Windows 11, don't they have to have it's like a security chip or something that my computer does not have? So I'm looking at this like, this is stupid. I don't even want Windows 11. And now you're telling me if I want Windows 11, I have to buy a new computer? Give me a break. But yeah, lots of companies are going to be looking at exactly that because Microsoft is ending support of Windows 10, I believe on October 1st or October 30th, something like that, which means they're going to have to roll over all of the computers that don't have this stupid little chip in it to Windows 11 with new hardware. So good point here.
And 2026 next year. And with these partnerships, AMD is insanely well positioned to get their tech into millions of office computers. But there is even more to it. AMD is adding special AI chips right into their laptop processors. So imagine having a personal assistant inside your computer that makes everything a little bit faster, a little bit smarter. That's essentially what they're doing. Now then second, I mentioned data centers, right? You're like, oh, Nvidia owns this. These guys are suckers. Well, let me just explain this in a sort of non-technical way, because I know most of us are not, engineers or something, or software whizzes, computer whizzes. Think of it like this. Nvidia is the sort of friend that always has to be first with the latest iPhone, the latest tech gadget. They rush to release their new products, they create massive hype, and yes, they make an amazing product lineup. But AMD is clever. Instead of racing to be first, AMD waits for the perfect moment. It's like waiting until after.
It's kind of like Apple, right? Okay, so I may not get pissed at this video. I may not. Okay, so I'm happy to hear about that. So it's kind of like Apple, right? My Apple phone, I have a is this like a 13 Pro, right? I got little tiny hands, so I don't need the giant screen. So this is the 13 Pro. You can see my beautiful family right there on our, where'd it go? On our trip to Scotland earlier this year. Beautiful, right in out at Glenfinnan Castle. Or Glenfinnan House, which is like this. It's a beautiful place, and the front yard looks over this this lake, and then there's mountains all around it. And then off to the left, you remember the giant bridge in Harry Potter 2 where they're flying the car all around the bridge and the train and whatnot is right there, right? Such an amazingly beautiful place right there, right? But this Apple phone that I have here, this iPhone, I don't know how many years old this is. What year did the iPhone 13 come out, right? It still works. And Apple's super slow to adopt new things, right? Apple doesn't have any folding phones. They don't have anything, in my opinion, that's really changed since my Apple phone 13. I know I'm saying Apple phone. You can throw it in the comments and say, it's an iPhone 13. I know, I do that for fun. So my Apple phone 13, it works just as well today as an Apple phone 16, right? So maybe AMD is playing a game somewhat like Apple does in that case, right? Letting the market figure out, well, hold on a minute. Are you telling me that they're going to let the market tell it which direction it's going? Because that's exactly how I trade. And yet they do that with their products. You know what? This is brilliant. I love this
After
video.
Black Friday, when the crowds have gone home, but you can still get what you need, often even at a better price. So here's what happens. Nvidia launches their new product, but they can't make enough of it for everybody who wants one. Well, not everybody can afford it because their prices are sky high, and a lot of people are just waiting for months for delivery. That's where AMD makes their move. They release their product with slightly better memory, right when the companies are getting frustrated with waiting and the high prices of Nvidia. So they're offering perhaps a better deal to people who are just tired of standing in line. And this isn't luck. This is actually a calculated strategy that they have. And the best part, AMD's products output.
Anybody else see his leg just come out from under the table? That kind of freaked me out. I didn't like
Nvidia's
that.
Previous generation, and they cost less. So for businesses that care about the bottom line and that don't need the fastest, latest chip. So if you're not, Amazon or Microsoft or OpenAI or something, but just a regular business, you might not need the latest Nvidia chip and you don't want to pay for it. And remember this, when Intel was the undisputed king of processors, remember those days? Well, those days are gone, right? Because AMD's Ryzen series has been absolutely dominating high performance computers. And I've got one of those in this particular computer that we're recording with here. So what does this all mean for you?
I have mine is an Intel i5. And I am a nerd enough to know that kind of stuff, right? I didn't build this PC. It was a gaming PC pre-build that I bought. But of course, many times I've been like, oh, if I just had that i7 or the i9, oh, my PC would be so much faster. But then again, I'm like, you know what? It works fine. I'm probably not going to be upgrading anytime soon.
You as an investor. Well, with AMD down so much from last year, I think there is an opportunity. The sort of opportunity we've seen in Meta, or that we've seen in PayPal, starting to see in PayPal, and other stocks that have just been beaten up pretty harshly. So if you're thinking about it, before you run out and just want to put all your money into AMD, please don't. Obviously risk management is the key thing.
Dude, let's go. Okay. This could be the best video I've seen so far.
But let me show you the chart here in Trade Vision, which is the platform that we built to give you the best charts, the best data, the best information, so you can make better decisions. It's a free trial to it. You can check that out too, felixfriends.org/Trade Vision. Link is again down below in the description. And what do we see? Well, I put in 2 lines here. Can you see that? Let me just get a pen for you. I put in purple line number 1, which is this one here, which connects the highs, sort of the highs, slightly above this one here, but you get the idea. It's a downtrend, right? It's that falling knife thing. And then
yes, a downtrend, a falling knife thing, exactly what I've been talking about for ages. And if we go into OVTLYR, which is our platform, and I'll type in AMD, give it just a second to load. Let's look at the news while this loads in, right? We've got positive news, positive news, positive news, positive news, all for AMD. Then we go to the analyst ratings. I'm actually really curious to see these. Outperformed to peer perform, so that's a downgrade. Buy to neutral, buy reduce, buy neutral. All of this within the last couple months here. I don't know, it's kind of split, but the price targets though, 175. It's currently at 118, so that's a very bullish price target. Big reduction, 185 to 150, 175, 129, 110 from HSBC. So it's kind of mixed bags right there. But we actually did get a buy signal here in OVTLYR a few days ago. Now it's pretty flat since that buy signal came through, maybe down a couple bucks or so. But if you look at the heat maps down here, right, we did see it go from greed, from a decent amount of greed, 13 out of 50 in October, and the fear has just accelerated to the downside, but has flattened out. This is now at 28 out of 50 on the fear index down here and has flattened out. So maybe AMD is about to find a bottom. I don't know. From the low right there, when the sell signal came, or the buy signal came through, it's up about 5%. That's not the worst move ever right there, especially inside of a downtrend. Let's continue on here.
Sharper downtrend since October last year, which connects, that high, that one, this one, and you can see they're lower and lower and lower. So it's the very definition of falling knife, and that's why I keep shouting. That's also why I make this video, because I know some people are saying to you, just buy it, and then don't judge a video by its title and headline. It's a bit like judging a tabloid and headline and thinking, well, now I know everything. No, you need to do a little bit more research. And right now we're still falling, and we could fall a lot more. Like there is no reason that we might not hit the 80s or 90s, or even much lower. When we were in We were in the $56 range. And it's entirely possible we go that low. So how do you know when it's going to go up? Well, if you watch the masterclass, it actually teaches you the real steps. You can apply this to every stock. But let me simplify this a little bit here. So there will be two lines I look at, moving average lines. The first would be the 150-day moving average. That sits up here right now at about $150. Never, ever, ever do I buy a stock below the 150-day moving average line. It's a terrible place to be, and you don't want that because bad things happen below it. And if you look at the chart, well, like when we dropped down below it here in February 2022 at 120, we ended up at $56, right? So that's generally speaking bad. And when we broke back above it here at 77, the rally took us, to very, very glorious highs. So people I know are worried about, but yeah, I'm going to miss out on, $10, $20, $30 here or something. Yes, and you will, and that's okay. Why is it okay?
Oh, man. Yes, you will miss out on picking the bottom by maybe $10, $20, or $30, and it's okay. Dude, finally, I got somebody who understands how this market works. You don't just buy something that's going to zero and hope for the best. You wait for it to figure itself out, and it may be $10, $20, $30 off the low before it figures itself out.
Okay, because our goal as an investor is to not lose large amounts of money. That's what a good trader does. That's our number one.
Yes, and for all of you in the comments who are like, oh, I'm a long-term investor, I'm okay if it goes down. Are you really? Right? Our goal is not to lose money. Warren Buffett's 2 rules of investing is number 1, don't lose money. Number 2, see rule number 1. Why are you okay with something going to zero? Right? Thank you, Felix.
One priority. And therefore, we only enter things that have a high probability of making us a lot of money. And we exit things that have a high probability of losing us a lot of money. It's really the sort of real simplicity of trading. It's much, much simpler than most people think. Or investing, it's the same thing, very much the same strategy. So I'm going to wait for this stock to do exactly that. So it'll be somewhere up here, probably around the 150, where I will be interested.
You have no idea how refreshing it is to see this. I see pumper after pumper after pumper who is like, buy AMD, buy AMD, buy AMD, as it's going down and down and down. And finally, somebody with common sense who says, wait a minute, why do I want to buy something who's going to zero? I'll wait for it to go back up. This is what separates the best from the rest, okay? Thank you, Felix. I really appreciate that, because I've been sitting on this soapbox for ages. Every time I see one of these videos that someone says buy AMD or buy whatever when it's going to zero, I just quietly think to myself, which out loud now that I'm doing these videos, thinking to myself, why would someone do that? Why would somebody buy something that's pointing down? Let the market tell you where it's going. And if it's going down, why are you wanting to get it? Let it figure out where that bottom is and then start going back up. And I have seen a couple quotes in the or a couple comments saying, well, I don't know where that is, right? You put on the OVTLYR Trend Template, your 10-period moving average, your 20-period moving average, your 50-period moving average, right? If they're all stacked down, that means the trend is down. If they're all stacked up, that means the trend is up. And when they start crossing over, that means the trend is changing direction, right? You can see what it looks like when the trend is going up, okay? You can see what it looks like when the trend is changing directions and when the trend is going down. And yeah, it can sometimes chop you up, and that sucks, but it's also part of trend. But you can see right there on the charts, okay? You can see where the market's going. There's no excuse anymore. Listen to me, there is no excuse anymore. You have the trend template. You have the OVTLYR Trend Template that is math-based. The average price over the last X number of days, average price over 10 days, average price over 20 days, average price over 50 days. If it's below those average prices, that means the price is moving down. And you have the choice to wait until prices are moving back up to buy it, and you're not going to catch the bottom. Just be okay with that, right? There's an old adage where it's the bottom 20% or bottom 10% and the top 10% are the most expensive, because people want to find where that bottom is. People want to find where the top is. You don't have to, right? You can let it come back up and then get in, okay? Thank you, Jesus.
Unless we go much lower, in which case, that level might well be somewhat lower. So I am intentionally leaving $30 on the table here, because I know that when you buy things at a falling knife, you might end up losing half your money, and then you get frustrated, and then you get out, and then you have to wait 2 years. Maybe you might be thinking,
right, it's this. It's exactly this, right? You want to be buying it when people have hope. When people have hope and optimism in your stock, it's reflected in the stock price. When people have panic and denial and anxiety in the price, it's reflected in the price. It's going down.
okay to wait 2 years. I'm a hodler. And I know this has been a thing on YouTube and social media. People are saying, right, okay, but let's just say it does this and 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 this. And then eventually 2 years later, it gives you the rally, right? What's the problem with that? In that 2 year span,
in that 2 years, you have lost so much time. You've lost so much capital. You've lost so much brain power. You've lost so much emotional power. That is why it's called disbelief and depression and capitulation, right? And on the other end, you start to get the hope and optimism belief back. Why not wait? Why not wait until this is done and we're on the opposite side and we get the hope, optimism, belief back?
say the market does what it did the last 2 years. The market the last 2 years is up about 50%. I'm sorry, I'm writing with a mouse here, so it's not the prettiest handwriting. So what have you actually done? You've lost 50%. So you have to make a 50% gain with this stock just to be back to zero. So even if you're up 50%, so say you buy here now and then you rally all the way up to there, you up.
Okay. So let's do on the chart what he means by that, right? So if you bought a stock, if you buy AMD and it goes down 50%, let's just plot it on the chart right here. Let's say you bought AMD at, hang on, we're almost there. I'm finding the 50% point. Let's say you bought AMD at right there. Let's call it the top of that candle. You bought AMD at 226 in March, right? You're down 50.6%. That's perfect, right? To get back to even, this is going to sound crazy. It doesn't have to go up 50%. I know. What do you mean it doesn't have to go up 50%? If you bought it and it goes down 50%, do you know what it takes to get back to break even? 50% puts you right here. 50% gets you halfway there. 50% gain only gets you halfway to what you've lost. You need a 100% gain to make back a 50% loss. That's how the math works. That's how losses work against you so much faster than winners do, right? You need a 100% gain to get back to even on a 50% loss. You know how hard it is to find a 100% gain?
Up 50%, you still haven't made any money. You see what I'm saying? Bag holding is very expensive, which is why I'm against it. So I don't. So for me, the key thing will be to look at break above the big moving average line here. You want some nice, big, juicy volume to pop out there. And do I think it's going to happen? Yes, I do think it's going to happen. But it might not be this week. It might not be this month. It might be tomorrow. Well, tomorrow will be a little unlikely. Maybe the earnings event will do it. So I think this is a real opportunity. I think AMD is overly beaten up. I think people are giving them a hard time, even though they are collecting some serious business and some serious orders, and they have a track record of delivering, right? They did they took Intel out before, right? Intel is now like basically whimpering and AMD is hoovering up all the business. And there are a lot of opportunities where you don't need the latest and greatest Nvidia chip. You just don't need them for a lot of operations, and people are going to move more and more to the most cost-efficient version of delivering what their compute power requires. So I think there is an opportunity here for AMD. I think it's a big and bouncy one, but I think it's too early. And I hope that a lot of you make it to this point in the video, because some people will look at the title and go, oh my God, buy it now. And I'm like, you gotta.
Dude, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. That's so funny. That's precisely exactly what I thought and why I was getting so animated at the beginning of this video.
Take information and you're going to look at the whole thing. So I see a lot of stuff on social media where, people that I regard highly, that I might follow, say things, oh, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. And I never ever buy something just because somebody else told me, right? You have to come up with your own rules, you have to come up with them. You have to learn some rules. Like every great trader I've ever met does what? Well, they've learned it from somebody, and that somebody learned it from somebody, and that somebody learned it from somebody. Like everybody has a mentor. Everybody successful in this investing business has a mentor, and probably multiple mentors. I now employ a bunch of amazing mentors with 100-year plus of trading experience, and I learn from them. And you can get access to those guys if you would like to join our mentoring programs. You don't have to. We put out probably 90% of the stuff that I teach for free, and that's my intention, because I want to make an impact and I want to help you. So watch the masterclass. That'll be a very, very first good step, and it'll mean that you no longer make these silly decisions where you're just like hoping. And hope is just not a strategy. It's just really not a viable.
Hope is not a strategy. No. Okay. We're gonna wrap it on that. Let's rank this video. This will go down as a legendary video. This is my first legendary video, and here's why. Felix pointed out this is a falling knife stock. This is a stock that is trending down, and it doesn't matter how beautiful the story is. It doesn't matter how great the fundamentals are. The price is going down. If the price is going down, let it go down without you. Let it find its bottom. And then once it starts coming back up, Be content with the fact that you missed the bottom. You're never going to pick the bottom. It's okay. Be okay with that. But when it does start to go back up, that is the time to get aggressive in buying something. So this is going to be a legendary number 10 video. And let me know in the chat what you think about it, all right? And come back tomorrow where I help you save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team here in the OVTLYR Trading Room. Have a fantastic day.